The single most important book that a man can read that will change his entire life if he is somebody that is invested in self-improvement and wants to become the best, most masculine version of himself is the Bible. And I know a lot of people are probably planning on clicking off the video because, oh, Brandon, that's a cop-out. You can't just say the Bible. Well, I'm actually going to get more specific with it. And I'm going to tell you the main books in the Bible that I think that you should be focusing on. And I'm going to tell you why it's so good, why it's so incredibly important. The truth is, we have a massive crisis going on inside of the church with Christian men. They have lost their masculinity. They have lost the script. They are no longer the leaders of the household. They are letting the woman lead while they are slaves to their own desires, and they are just nice guys. It's terrible. They don't know how to actually go out and lead people. And that is why the Old Testament specifically is so beautiful and so important, and why every single man needs to read it. If you are a Christian and you don't read through the entirety of the Bible at least once a year, you are missing out so hard. And I'll have conversations with these Christian men, and I'll bring up different stories in the Bible. I'll mention Jehu, the war hammer, or I'll mention Samson, or I'll mention David, or I'll mention Moses or Noah, and all of these incredible characters in the Old Testament. And some of these guys that have been Christians for years won't even know their stories. They won't even know what happened to them. And I'm sitting there dumbfounded thinking, how can you say that you're a Christian as a man and want to be a leader and want to understand your own nature, which is one of the most important parts of self-improvement, and you haven't even read the Old Testament? Like, do you know how good these stories are, man? Have you ever read the book of Exodus with Joseph, with Noah, with Cain and Abel, with Adam and Eve? Like, so many people don't go back to the roots. It's so sad to see. What made me decide to make this video in the first place was there's a guy named Leo Skepi on Instagram. And he keeps popping up in my feed over and over again. And he's going through the Bible now. And he's taking people along the journey with him, giving his thoughts on Instagram. And he basically said in his post that he was getting super fed up with the New Testament. He read through Genesis, and then he just decided to skip straight to the Gospels in the New Testament because everybody was acting so terribly, and he was sick of listening to all the terrible things that people were doing. He just wanted to get to the New Testament. He wanted to hear what Jesus had to say. That's what he felt called to learn about. And the New Testament is amazing, don't get me wrong. But if you are a man, you are required to read the Old Testament. That is where everything that you need to know so bad exists. All of the men that have gone before you, they have their stories told. Their stories of failure. Their stories of persistence. Their stories of doubt and of trust in God. Their stories of going out there and murdering other men in cold blood. Murdering men to steal their wives. Men after God's own heart. Falling into lust time and time and again. People being tricked by their own worldly, earthly desires. Think about Moses. He's somebody that I constantly think back to. Such a great character in the Bible. When God goes to him and tells him, hey, Moses, you're going to be awesome. You're going to be a man. You're going to be a leader. I'm going to give you so much power. What did Moses say? Moses said, oh, but I'm really bad at speaking. Are you sure you want to choose me? Are you sure there isn't somebody better for the job? That reminds me of the modern man. The modern man that I'm always speaking to in these videos. The guy that says, oh, I can't get girls because I'm not good looking. I'm not jacked. I wasn't born with a super symmetrical face and nice cheekbones. I can't go out there and lead hundreds of people. I can't lead thousands of men into battle. Who am I? I can't even speak properly. And God says, go, I send you. Who made man's mouth? Who made the seen and the blind? Was it not I? Now go. I will give you the words to say. I will give you power. This is the story of the modern man. We as men can look back into the future and we can see all of the different places where our predecessors fucked up. And they fucked up so much. The Old Testament should make you irritated, not only with your own sin, but with the sins of others as well. It should make you hate sin. It should make you think, why does God even put up with us? After all, we are so degenerate. We are so far gone. Even the best of us somehow end up committing these terrible atrocities. Our nature is so fucked. Why doesn't God just wipe us off the face of the planet? He did at one point. Shout out Noah, another story in the Old Testament. This stuff has happened before. But that's the beauty of the Old Testament. It's the beauty of the story. It's the beauty of the context, is the fact that you go through all that depravity and you see the muck. And what it does is it makes you need the New Testament. It makes you crave the new covenant. It makes you crave Jesus all the more. And people have a super messed up view of their head of who Jesus was. I tell you what, it is insane the amount of Jesus propaganda that gets spread around, not just in Christian circles, but to people who aren't Christians about who Jesus was. They say, oh, he was just this nice guy. Jesus was this guy who just loved everybody, and no matter if they were a prostitute, no matter if they were a tax collector, no matter if they were a murderer, Jesus just loved on everybody. No! Jesus loves people who hate their sin. Jesus loves people who were repentant. Jesus loves people who wanted to turn away from their sin and turn towards him. The people that picked up their cross to follow him. Jesus hated the Pharisees, people stuck in their own pride. He called them a brood of vipers. He chased the money collectors out of the temple. People that were destroying God's holy place, destroying things that were sacred. He hated that. He hated sin. He was so opposed to evil. He was so opposed to sin. He wasn't just this all-tolerant person that just accepted everybody for who you are. No. He would pick up the prostitute and say, go and sin no more. Go and sin no more. He just wasn't this nice guy. But at the same time, we see Jesus fulfill all of the prophecies in the Old Testament while simultaneously giving us the new covenant and allowing us to enter into the covenant and be saved if we pick up our cross, if we turn towards God. That is the beauty right there, my friends. Do not skip the Old Testament. It is a book of stories. And some people will sit around and say, oh, those stories never happened. I'm not a big fan of fiction, so I'm not going to read the Bible. You are missing out on the best text. You are missing out on the context of who you are as a man. You have legitimately gotten to the point in your life today because hundreds, thousands of other men have gone before you. You are the descendant of a massive bloodline that has survived throughout all of human history in order to get to where you are now. And when you read the Bible, you start to feel the gravitas of that. You start to feel the truth, and you start to intake the wisdom of those who have gone before you. Solomon falling into lust, David falling into lust, Samson falling into lust. So many men crippled by their wants and by their desires. So many men led astray, whether it was chasing riches or chasing women or chasing legacy. You get to see all of the mess ups up close and personal. Going through and reading the Old Testament, listening to it in the audio Bible, which is how I like to take it in. I just tend to absorb so much more information when it's going in through my ears rather than actually reading it. When you start to absorb all that information, you can go in and individually pick out every single story, every single character that applies to your life today. You see yourself in the failures of these men. And you can then go throughout life and navigate through things through a new lens. As a man, you are called to lead. You are called to sacrifice. You are called to lean on God. And that is exactly what you get to see up close and personal in the Old Testament. So go read through the Bible, through the whole thing. Start to understand the personality of God. God has got a killer sense of humor. And you see it throughout the entire Bible, but especially in the Old Testament. You start to know your God. And as you start to know your God closely, you start to understand what is missing from yourself. You start to understand the ways that you fall short, the ways that you need to be better. And that is what makes it the ultimate self-improvement book. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to drop a like down below. Drop a singular thumbs up in the comment section if you watched all the way through the end of this video, because if you did, you've got an attention span of steel, my friend. And I want to give you props for that. I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.